Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour, where the faithful come to worship at 2 p.m. Eastern Time every market day. You got to think that something's always up here, isn't there? There's always a bug in the ointment. There's where's it at here? Why did these things? Here we go.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Well, certainly it does. Anyway, as we get into what's going on in the market, we'll go into a little bit more in depth. McDonald's at the top of the list has gone to 150 McDonald's locations in Kentucky with Krispy Kreme donuts. I remember this was one of the most easily spottable blow-off tops in the market around TFNN, and I think Tom led many people to keeping an eye on this when it decided to go south. After they went and IPO'd, everybody in, was it North Carolina? I think it was North Carolina. Everybody had some shares and they all sold. And I think that told you everything. It was a good company, but it was a bad IPO. Bad. But the product's good. I found out what's the addictive thing they put in there. It's some kind of almond paste thing that they have, but they're massively addicting. And I always thought, McDonald's, why aren't you a little bit more like, if you've ever been to Canada, there's a thing called Hortons. And it was named after a hockey player who started the franchise, who eventually, if I'm not mistaken, went off on a drug and alcohol fuels bender. The cops chased him all over, and he ended up dying in a car wreck. It was some kind of story like that. But Horton has a who or how. That's kind of like a national rite of passage to get your coffee and donuts up there. I always thought that McDonald's would do much better with those. It doesn't take a lot to pre-make those, and you can sell them probably fairly good. But interesting nonetheless. Used home sales popped. Everybody trying to get in before interest rates even go higher. I don't think there's a lot more to say about that. Eventually, the folks will get priced out of the market as interest rates go higher. William Buffett slammed the president and Bernie Sanders for talking about share buybacks and saying that they were bad. Buffett says they're good. Of course, Buffett makes a lot of money rebuying his own shares and then running the shorts out of it. And interestingly enough, I think we talked about it last week, maybe, or the week before, that Buffett and his minions used to run around in the early 2000s saying how bad options were. Now he has probably the biggest options operation in the country. But, if you've got a bunch of shares of Apple or something like that, it's nothing for him to come in there and be able to get a bunch of people short, sell a lot of puts on Apple, and then come back and buy the shares with the other hand. So, but in the reality of it is, does it really? The whole point of that is it avoids them double taxing or triple taxing shares of stock. So, Buffett calls them dummies. Who's surprised? Anyway, Tesla, big pop today. Again, as I said, for about 2 months now, the people that think that you're going to short Tesla out of existence are woefully misguided. Only when everybody gives up shorting it will this thing probably go down. And they're starting to get a little less, but I mean, generally when people truly hate something or a stock, it can hang up for a very long time. Now, probably on the best thing you can say about it today is the volume isn't blowout, but it's not blowout in anything. But I think you could see this hang on for 2 or 3 or 4 days. The news actually pretty good. I don't think it was Berlin. Can't remember what it was. Maybe it was Dusseldorf. One of those places we bombed in the Second World War. Anyway, his factory there can make about 4,000 cars a month, and it's reached that almost instantaneously with an opening. And a lot of people are looking at that and going, okay, so now we got more cars and more Teslas to sell in Europe. Still massively overpriced, but things can remain overpriced for months and years. See if there's anything else on my list of stuff. Oxy and Workday are out after the bell. Let's take a quick look at those. Of course, a lot of these energy stocks have come off their highs on the thought that really kind of a stagflation or a high inflation but low demand for energy is going to continue. I don't think that narrative is as good as the one where Russia just pumped as much oil as they could. And by us letting them sell it, they pushed it, a great deal of it out all at once, and it's kind of flooded the market for a little while. The good part on this is that you tested the previous lows within about 50 cents. The September 26th low on Oxy, that had 25 million shares. You tested that a couple of days ago with 17 million shares. You're kind of playing around out here. But we'll see what they have to say after the bell. The other company with people coming back into jobs in offices is Workday. And it's been meandering for the last week, maybe a little 10 days or so out here, going sideways into earnings. I don't see one way or the other. The downside would be 158 if they have a massive failure. I don't think that there's probably much in the way of an upside to maybe 10, 15 bucks, something like that. So a little bit, risk reward's a little tough right now, but good company, got good products, and I think that's all I got to say about that. 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com. And we will return like Patton did to the Philippines in just a minute.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And as we come back, let's take a quick look at the indexes. Where's my... Come on, there you are. So we keep playing right around this 4,000 level. 39.93 on the S&P cash. My guess is that we'll close a little bit above that. And probably my description of stumbling up like Otis to the drunk tank on Mayberry, we're probably going to see that is just kind of going to be like this week, which is everybody's going to try to short it every 5 minutes, and it's going to be kind of a tough week to be short. Maybe we get some kind of surprise and it cracks early, but I'm not highly optimistic that happens until next week. Certainly the option market makers are not looking for a whole lot of downside and only mild upside. So I'm not expecting us to race up to 4,400 on the S&P cash, 4,100, something like that this week, and we'll look at the timing. But, I think you can, if you've got a long position in a option, you can probably sit on your hands. I don't like waking up to the fact that, we may have some kind of surprise in what is a fairly weak market. I'm not denigrating those folks for thinking that, but as I say, every couple of weeks or maybe every month, that short positions are, the market's only going down about 25% of the time. It just goes down 3 times faster than it goes up the other 3/4 of the time it's out there. So you got to know when to sit on short positions, and if you're waiting for a year, I think you're fine, or 6 months. But if you think you're going to make a lot of money short this week on trades that last more than a handful of hours, I think that's also problematic. Let's go to the tail of the tape. Another episode of that light volume today. About 6 billion, maybe 6.1 billion shares as we start the show. So there isn't a lot of juice. The old chestnut out there in trading is Class Bueller. Don't be short a quiet market. And if it continues to be quiet, watch out. Yes, somebody brought up that MacArthur goes to the Philippines. I just bring that up as a homage to Animal House when they talk about the Germans bombing Pearl Harbor. Bluto for that. So I'm just a big kidder. I know that it was MacArthur. 877-927-6648. Homage. Can't spell it, but I do a lot of it. Okay. Let's see out here. Let's go ahead to some others, to the big movers of the day, and we'll move on. So we've got a few minutes out here. Did I have anything else? Not much in the way of history. No. Okay. Let's see what else is going on here. VTRS. Can we look at that? Anyway, yeah. You're just in a downtrend in this. I don't think there's a lot. This is down 2.5%. So it's one of the bigger down moves of the market. But I don't know if there's a great deal of there. To see if there's any. CarMax is off 1%. KMX. Yeah. Some of these are just in downtrends. I don't think there's a big story there. UNP. Of course, a lot of up talk on Union Pacific. Apparently, the old executive or CEO leaving was a loser, and everybody has come together and singing Kumbaya that the door hit him on the rear end at the exit. So you have a huge pop in Union Pacific back up here. It's hard for me to believe that anybody can be that bad, but, we've seen similar things in other countries. When is window dressing over? On Friday. It's the last 2 days of the trading month and the first 3 trading days of the next month. And if you look in the charter for ETFs, you'll see where they'll say we'll be 100% invested by so-and-so date. Now, I've never seen anybody prosecuted over it, but for the most part, if you're a money manager, you got to know you're buying a fund. You got to know that fund is 100% invested in whatever technology or industry that you want, and then you're going to hedge out that position. You don't want those guys trying to hedge them out. So the fund guy has to be 100% invested with whatever it is. If it's a bond fund or a fund for solar panels, whatever it is. His job is to be 100% invested, take all that cash, and make sure that he is 100% invested by the 3rd day of the month. 877-927-6648, path@tfnn.com. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay, so we have. Okay, what is my thought on short gold? I'm not a fan of ever shorting gold. Maybe the gold miners. If I was going to be bearish on gold, I would buy an option. This is not one of the things you want to own if someone lets off a nuke, because gold would be $4,000 the next day and bankrupt you. if the banks are still around. So I'm not a fan of doing that. I can be short the miners, but I'm not a big fan of shorting gold itself. Does kind of look like it's trying to get back down to 160, but you're really at support now without a lot of volume. I don't see a scenario in the market where we get 160, but if I just changed the name on the top, you handed me this chart, I'd say, you've got a gap there at 160. Not a lot of volume, though. Again, not a big fan of being short gold, especially well after the cow has left the barn. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, a question about Palo Alto Networks on whether they're short or not. You've got 2 really big gaps. I wouldn't short it until you got a third one. And, probably 75%, 80% of the time, you get 2 major gaps, not some of these minor ones out here, but you get 2 major gaps, you're going to get a third on the way up. So I'm not a big fan. Your odds are much better if maybe you miss it, but that's it. But yeah, normally you get 2 really big ones. And this one's like 8, and then the next one is 14. Generally, you'll have one that blows off the top, probably back up to 213 on Palo Alto Networks. The way this is set up right now, you could gap up, touch that, and then that would be it. but tough. Other stocks of interest to the upside is InPhase, who's kind of out of phase, but popped up nicely today, up 6.5%. Does not look bad out here for trying to make a low, but I think it's going to take a little while for it to do that. So don't get too excited just yet. Other ones in the same kind of space, Solar Edge. Nice pop on this one, but no volume. This one's actually just in a trading range. We talked about Tesla. Everybody continues to pile on this one. It's just a little less, but normally it's been around 40% on a daily basis. It's just under that now, but you popped over and you got a little less volume. That's kind of what you're looking for. This one's a lot more subtle than many others, but my guess is that this could go back up to at least touch the high 217.56. More than likely, with the amount of shorts in it, you get some kind of bounce that rips, maybe 10, 15, 20 bucks, and then gives it all up in the same day. All the shorts get out of it, and then that would be a better chance to think that you've got a high and something to short. I don't see any reason to go after it right here. Baidu. Gap up, kind of a little abandoned baby out here on light volume from Friday. Today you've got about 2.7 million shares. I would have liked to seen more volume today, is the only problem with this one. LYV, which is up 4.5% on the day after a brutal Friday. That's an ugly, ugly, ugly candle. I don't know if you could say anything other than a bounce in a down move other than that. Others, ASML, again, one of the great companies in semiconductors, basically a monopoly. The only real downside for them is getting product shipped to them from Germany for the mirrors that they use. Everything else seems to be okay. But if Zeiss doesn't send them mirrors, they're in for a world of hurt. But certainly a very interesting setup. Light volume bounce in ASML today. Okay. Are we still sitting there? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have out here? By ASML. Expedia is up about 3%. It's like a EXPE. Yeah. Didn't really change much. Again, the biggest problem with having these things, these dojis out here for Friday or big candles, was that you should have seen a lot of more volume out here today on these. Let's take a look at booking. BNKS, is it? Book. There's it. Bookings. BKNG. BKNG. I knew someone would bring it up in the den. Woody Harrelson. You think he's coming back to, think you're ever going to let him host Saturday night? Let's have him host the Oscars now. I think so. Bookings.com, a nice pop, no volume in comparison to Friday where you had 560,000 shares. Today you have 223. So again, light volume bounces in this market, but I think that could continue throughout the week. Mostly the problem is I see way too many people shorting, talking about shorting, email me about shorting. That's rarely when that comes back. Yeah, last year Saturday Night Live has had two good guests finally out of the last 20 years. And, well, That's it. Yeah, you wonder whether or not it was approved. Did they let him say that? Or did he just decide to insert it himself? 877-927-6648. We look to the little mysteries surrounding us all. Okay, we looked at that. See what else out here. CCL. Yeah. I mean, the history of these is they're weak for the next 6 months. It's hard to think that they're going to get instantly better. But March is generally the high point of cruise lines, and they generally find a low somewhere around August when everybody's deciding what to do about vacations. Don't see much in that. Netflix is continuing in FLX. Onwards and upwards. So, doesn't actually look too bad. Almost a bottom. On the 19th of January, you had about 17.7 million shares. Got into it with 13 million shares on the 23rd. Friday, you had 6.8 million shares. The biggest problem today is these bounces coming on lighter volume. So these may take the rest of the week. We've got kind of a nice little top in Netflix right now. NVIDIA. VDA. Take a quick look at the usual suspects. Everybody keeps shorting it. Probably not going lower until everybody gives up. AMD did have a new processor out today to go up against Intel's. I don't think it matters that much. Certainly the stock market doesn't think there's a whole lot here, although you do have a little bounce on very light volume. Okay, let's go back into some of these others that we look at here. Other in the usual suspects. It was a silo of truth. We'll be back in a minute.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
And a question, take a look at Deere. Now, you had a gap up on the 17th. They had about 4.9 million shares. Friday, you had 1 million shares. Today, you just have 540,000 shares. The problem I have is I'm fairly bearish after this week. You had one kind of test low down there at about 405-ish. I think you got a double gap right there at about 405. I mean, the risk reward is problematic. And I probably wouldn't touch this just because there won't be enough meat on the bone. There won't be enough gravy. We need we need to wet our beaks, and more than just a drop. And that's the problem I see in John Deere. But I did like an ad when I was growing up. I grew up kind of at the bridge at the south end of the city, and literally when we moved into the house, everything was cornfields for the next 50 miles south of us. But there was an ad, and it said, we stand behind, John Deere, we stand behind everything but our manure spreaders. And I always liked that ad. Anyway, John Deere, you never know. Again, 877-927-6648 if you've got anything for me. Thanks, Hector. Email me at path@tfnn.com. Still got about 6 minutes left. Okay. See if there's anything else I want to talk about. That's a Zax. Let's go to earnings. See you tomorrow. Tuesday, is that right? 28th? Yep, all day long. Tomorrow morning we get Target. Let's take a look. I mean, since they blew up, they've just really been going sideways. This was the disaster of almost a year ago in May, where you came down 50 million shares. You've had very half-hearted attempts to get back into that gap. Everything says that market or consumers are going downscale into the markets. So that's it. Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else? AutoZone tomorrow. AZO. Take a quick look at that. You got to think that these guys got to be doing good, and hard to think that they whiff. But, you know, I've been by them a couple of times. There's not a lot of traffic in the parking lots. Now, I know they sell a lot of parts to repair shops, that kind of stuff, and a lot more online. But would be interesting. You do have a couple what I would term light volume tops at $2,600. These guys, if they were smart, they'd probably split their stock. And maybe that's what'll get this thing moving again. but you do kind of have a double high with about the same volume. But very tough to see this guy doing extremely poorly. Also tomorrow morning in auto parts is Advanced Auto Parts. Now these guys are hugging the toilet like on prom night. And you got more volume at the lows. I don't know why this is so different between the two of these guys, but certainly does look very different between A Tale of Two Cities here. Is anybody else? Let's go to tomorrow night. HPQ. So we look at this one. Okay. Give me just a second here. Okay. So you got light volume today. Just been kind of coming up here off the bottom. I don't think there's a whole lot here. You did test the previous high with lighter volume on February 2nd compared to the November 15th high. So you've got a fairly nice high in at 3102. Yeah, things have not, sales are slowing down on computers. Everybody bought a new one for the lockdown and the pandemic. So it's tough to see as many people doing buying as many as they did before. Also, tomorrow morning is Ross Stores. You got to think that this one is going to do better. I mean, it's hanging up there fairly well. If it wouldn't be earnings, this would be a nice place to come and buy, actually. One of the few ones out here that may continue to do better. To see if the Trix Financial, AMC Entertainment, First Solar, FSLR. Oop, he's got to actually do that. If I can type. There we go. Just hanging out at highs. You're right in the center, man. You could go either way with this one. I think it has a lot to do with whether or not we're going to continue to allow panels made in China to be subsidized here in the United States. First Solar, anything else? Grossly all. Okay, that's it for Tuesday. Wednesday, we've got the Lowe's companies, LOW. Yeah, got nothing in that one. Take a look at DLTR. You got to think that Dollar Tree would probably be doing well, but it's not either. It's bouncing around its lows out here. Yeah, retail is very tricky right now. But you bounced off those lows twice. The downside for Dollar Tree is that it tested the December 21st low that had 2 million shares with 2.75 million shares on February 23rd. So you had a little bit more volume. That would keep me away from being long that during earnings. Kohl's, the disaster du jour every day, it seems like, continues to go sideways. We don't have one around here, and I'm not sure if there's anything else. Got somebody asking about IBM, which we'll handle after the break when we return. Kohl's doesn't look good to me. I think they've got a lot of problems. We'll be back in a minute.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And as we come back to wrap up the show, S&P's up 16 points, Dow's up 100, NASDAQ's up 77. Very light volume either way, up and down. So maybe some of these earnings this week. I think we've got about 40 stocks out of the S&P 500 that report this week, but I don't think enough of them are big enough to really move the market. They on the margins maybe. But there's not one that looks like it's going to come out and just tank the market this week. Question about IBM. This thing's just in a downtrend. They really couldn't do much up at the top. Biggest problem is Red Hat and how much money they're pulling in. Long term, I like IBM, but in the short term, there may be, it really kind of looks like it's coming back to 125. So, you know, they just, with Red Hat, they've got to have less or more self-hosted systems and less cloud business out there, and it's just the opposite. So Red Hat, why it's a good money maker for them, is not the same as it was one time with the growth that it had. You know, if you're Amazon or Microsoft, you don't need too much of Red Hat You've got your own guys running everything, and they pretty much know how to fix it or do that. But, if you've got something in-house, makes a lot of sense to have your own servers, that kind of stuff, especially if you can't, if you got to have the data in, like military or business, where you can't let your competitors maybe look at your data. You never know who's on the other side. Anyway, we're out of time for today. We shall return like a bad rash tomorrow. Oh, probably not tomorrow. I don't think I'm here tomorrow. We'll see you Wednesday. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems